Greetings and salutations, everyone. It's Rich Wilson. Welcome to Fantasy Baseball Live, or Take 10 with Tim. It's Friday. It is Bobby Bonilla Day, Tim. Bobby Bonilla Day. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
Yes, it certainly is. And to all of our Canadian listeners, happy Canada Day. It's our birthday today. So, yes, it's the equivalent to your July 4th. So we'll be celebrating our birthday today. So happy Canada Day to everyone.
So what's more significant, Bobby Bonilla Day or Canada Day?
Bobby Bonilla Day.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Particularly if you're Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah, I was going to say, hey, I'm adoptable. If he feels the urge to adopt me, yeah, I can, for a small allowance, I could be his buddy forever.
That's a pretty nice pension plan, Tim.
Well, I'm looking at it in comparison to mine. Okay,
yeah, same here. I'm like, that's a few more zeros on his than mine is. So
a lot more than mine.
So he gets like 1 point. I'm sure Mets fans have the number tattooed somewhere, but I think it's like $1.2 million a year through 2035. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think it's 2035. Yeah, eventually it will end.
Yeah.
Unless he renegotiates. He might renegotiate it to $500,000 over 10 years further or something like that, just to keep Mets fans happy.
So it's interesting. There was an ESPN article commemorating the day, and I read it. And apparently, Bonilla did the same thing with the Orioles, and he's paid $500,000 there for the next 15 years. He's done well. Scherzer's got a big one that pays out through 2028. Brett Saberhagen has one. So apparently, when Bonilla did it, a lot of guys kind of copied it back in that time frame, and I think teams have wised up and said, gee, we don't want that. So there's not a whole ton of those anymore.
No, I think financially it was a good move for the teams involved rather than paying the money up front.
Sure.
They did, yeah, they did save themselves money. And, for the player that can't budget appropriately, yeah, it gives you a good chunk of change every year for the most part of your life. So there's advantages on both sides of that one. So no matter, the fact that we give the Mets and we give, a hard time because of this, it was probably the right move at the time. It's just something that as time goes by, it's a Mets thing, right?
Yeah, you can financially plan for that. Like, put a bond somewhere and throw off some money to help pay for it. But it after a while, Timmy, it's kind of ridiculous, and maybe that's what they're thinking. It's like they have to plan for that in their budget every year.
Well, I know I put a bond away every year. Last year was Goldfinger. Next year it'll be Moonraker.
A James Bond fan, are you?
Dune. Yeah, okay, yeah, big time. I like the early Bond. I really do. With Sean
Connery was your favorite Bond?
Yes, by far.
What about the new Bond, who I think is retiring after this year?
I haven't really followed much of the James Bond since probably Roger Moore.
Oh, jeez,
so
Tim.
It's been a while,
dude. What are you doing? Like, you still haven't watched Schitt's Creek, have you?
I'm up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. What can I say?
I'm
guilty.
We're actually watching it for the second time, Timmy. It's that good.
Okay, I looked at it the other day because I've got Jody set up a Chromecast thing, so we've got Paramount Plus, and I'm going to watch the Beatles thing probably before Schitt's Creek, but I'm going to get to it.
Yeah, that's a smart thing. The Beatles thing before Schitt's Creek is definitely the right move.
Oh, okay.
That's on Disney though.
Oh, sorry, we got Disney and Paramount.
Okay, yeah. So you want to watch that. Also, give Hamilton a spy.
Okay.
You might not like it, but it's the musical Hamilton. It's
right.
It's a hip hop musical about the founding fathers. So
Yeah, well, I'm all into hip hop. That's me.
yeah, I know you. It's very, very, very good. It's in
Okay,
fact, it's amazing. But you might not like it. Might not be your cup of tea.
well, you know what? As I've gotten a little bit older, I've become a little bit more flexible in my musical taste. So yeah, I'll give it a spy and a fair assessment.
There
20
you go.
years ago, it would have lasted a minute and a half, and it would have been off.
All right. So your job in the next 2 to 3 weeks is to watch
Yes.
the Beatles.
Yeah,
The Beatles thing. You got to do that, Timmy. And
I
then
know
we're going
I
to
do.
talk about it, and you're going to you're going to be blown away by it. It is so good.
you're going to get back to me on that one.
Yeah, I'm going to get back. Very, very good. Anyway, let's get over to baseball, Timmy. So
Yes, let's get to
how are, let me give you a rest out there. Had to go over to the control because that was very good. Let's take a look at your industry leagues. How are they doing?
Why are we
Why?
taking a look at them?
Oh, jeez. So it's not going well.
Well, no, and a lot of it is just purely health related. Labor, when you lose Eloy Jimenez, Fernando Tatis, and Anthony Rendon, you don't make up the 90 home runs, 275 RBIs, 250 runs scored, and 25 stolen bases. In addition to that, Seiya Suzuki, Adley Rutschman, they've been gone for a month plus each. I picked up Brian Anderson as my replacement for Anthony Rendon. The first thing he did was hit the IL. Okay. Casey Mize, anyone? Even my dart toss at a closer, one of them, Alexis Diaz, he hit the IL. So it's just been a mess in labor and in tout now.
So let's drill down because I think it's important to try to. You're obviously a very, very good player, and I'm not sure you've ever had a team this beaten up and doing this poorly. So, is there any kind of as you reflect on it, is it just bad luck, or did you make mistakes at the draft? Did you make mistakes picking up? Is there anything that you can share that you've learned from this as, hey, if I could do this over again, I would do this?
The one thing that I would do in labor differently is I speculated on a few kids, Rutschman and Spencer Torkelson. Now, we're looking at a draft that goes off in the middle of February. It's the first industry league out of the gate. And I think moving forward, as much as it's not me, I'm going to stay away from the kids. When you're drafting 6 weeks before the start of the season, there's just too much risk. I think there are safer plays you can make. Okay, and back off a little bit on some of the younger players. But other than that, hey, you take
if I may, Timmy, I'm
Yeah.
going to double down on that thought because I did a league, my NFBC league, it's just about as good as your labor team, and I Torkelson has been a disaster, Timmy. He's been bad.
Yep.
Rutschman actually looks like a player. He looks
Yeah.
like he's gotten over the hump, and it's not taken him all that long. It's just unfortunate he was on the IL for a while. I mean, can't sometimes know that. He seems fine. Torkelson is a problem, Tim.
Yeah, right now he's floundering.
Yeah.
And we're not seeing anything right now to indicate that he's going to come out of this swoon. I don't know if the Tigers might have to send him back to AAA.
I'm shocked he's still up.
Yeah, I think the clock's ticking there. At least it should be, because it's just not changing. There's no improvement. There has to be some sort of improvement.
He's had a week where he looked, that was about a month ago, it looked like maybe he was turning out of it, and then it was just a little hot streak, and he's gone back to just really being a bad player.
Well, yeah, you take a look at the Tigers and the run differential. Yeah, it's ugly. It really is. Now, hey, they've dealt with a pile of injuries, but I'm sure they were expecting a little bit more out of Spencer Torkelson. Maybe not Julio Rodriguez good, but a lot better than they've seen.
Yeah, Torkelson is hitting 192 With a 283 on base percentage, that's okay. I mean, it's 100 points or 90 points on top of his average, so he's getting his walks. It's a 30% strikeout rate. That's just not good enough. 4 home runs, Timmy. He is slugging 290.
Yeah, he's on pace for 8 home runs. That ain't cutting it. Out of arguably number 1 prospect heading into the season, 1, 2, 3, somewhere in there.
He was a top 10, top 5. I mean, and if any prospect, which is a lot of the industry, fantasy industry guys listen to our show. I mean, if you said, well, I knew he wasn't going to be good, you're lying. I mean, it's like everybody thought this guy was going to be good.
Yeah, that wasn't a flyer taking Spencer Torkelson or where I did. And, when I look at Toad, I'm mid-pack right now, but I'm facing the same challenges in Toad as in Labor. Just a little bit different in that rather than getting hammered with season-ending injuries, I'm getting nickel and dimed in Toad. Acuna has been out for 5-6 days. Now we got Jordan Alvarez and Jeremy Pena day to day. Javi Baez missed time. Luis Urias missed time.
You've got Javier Baez on your team? Oh.
Yes.
That's not been good, Tim.
It's been good lately. I'm okay with what happened lately, but he missed 2-3 weeks earlier on in the season, and then he slumped horribly for 4 weeks after that. So Toad's pretty much the same as Labor. The big difference between the two is I haven't lost anybody for the season and had to replace them. So when you're playing,
you're mid-pack there, right? So
I'm mid-pack, so there's still hope.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't written Toad off yet, but what I've got to see is the consistent day-to-day at bats that I haven't seen. And some players to get hot. Like Acuna's looked great. The problem is, he's missed some time, and every game missed, especially when you're playing in a weekly league, if the players aren't on the IL, it's tough. I'm looking at the same thing we all are with Manny Machado. It's the same situation. Day to day to day to day to day. That's tough.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Manny Machado in a few minutes. How about this, Timmy? Javier, I'm going to go back to Javier Baez. I mean, he's been fine the last week or two, but it's been brutal. I think going into next year's draft, I'm going to avoid guys that have signed big contracts for new teams because it just doesn't feel good. I mean, look at Trevor Story. It's the same thing. He had that one good week, Tim.
Yeah.
Before the good week, he was terrible. After the good week, he's not been good. And Javier Baez had a couple of good weeks. And Marcus Semien got off to a really slow start. He looks great now, but these guys, there's a pattern forming here.
Yeah, even Freddie Freeman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's another name we can toss in there. He hasn't looked overly great.
There might be a reason for that. So,
well, yeah,
and maybe that's the same reason.
Maybe
that's the same reason with everybody. Timmy, you move to a new city, you're trying to make friends, you don't know anybody on your team. Maybe these guys just need time to settle in.
Well, yeah, and you've got, much the same as, and I've mentioned it numerous times when it comes to the Asian players coming to North America. Granted, it's a little more extreme there because you've got culture and language differences, but when you've played in one locale for a long period of time, your kids are comfortable in school, your wife has her social group, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And other than just yourself as a player in a new environment, there's a lot of circumstances there that can be cause for a player to, per se, not be 100% focused on the game.
Yeah, I mean, we look at statistics, and everybody looks at statistics, and you then translate these players to machines. Well, this is the stat line. They're gonna spit out this stat line, and you forget they're human beings, Timmy.
Yes.
That may have wanted to stay. We're going to talk about Freddie Freeman in a few minutes. That may have wanted to stay with the prior team. Mm-hmm. Who, again, maybe their spouse hates living in this new city.
Well, yeah, and you made some moves yourself in your career. I'm sure it wasn't easy that first month or two, with the kids in school and Lori and everything else, yeah, you make those moves, but are you settled and 100% productive and focused on your job when you've got all of those other intangibles working into the equation?
So
Yeah.
when I'm